Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory. It's not meant to derail, but here we are. I will say, the derailing of the trains is actually kind of cool. Like, it's a nice little mechanic. So, here we stand at the edge of the very scary swampy area, which we have since conquered. It no longer scares me, particularly because we have flight and we have a gun that helps keep us safe. Anyway, in between episodes, I started working on a new design for a better rail system. It's basically kind of some of the design things that I did over here, but I changed the middle back over to this version. But I also, what I did is I put a tube into it, so we don't have to necessarily use a train, we can just go ahead and use one of these. So while we traverse into the forward. Oh, actually, I need concrete. Everything else I can more or less keep, but I need to grab some of these resources from the train. Um, Before we get too far, because it does take a second for us to get over there. If you remember from the previous episode, some of my goals are to build a rail network all the way around the map in order for us to be able to traverse things in a mostly quick way, but it's also to give the trains options for what they want or for what they might need. Okay, I think that's everything we're gonna need. Yeah, we'll grab more if we need it. And we're not gonna stay over here the whole episode. So, what we have is we have a highway for our trains, so that way no matter where resources are on the map, we're able to accurately move them, or I guess efficiently, not accurately, efficiently move them from location A to location B. For instance, I'm thinking we might do something over here. I'm not sure what. There's not really a big flat area. There is some area down there, but I don't think there's anything really right here. But what I was more interested at was the area that we're coming up to right now. Now, I've seen a lot of people on Reddit use this area for like turbo fuel or producing all their power. So I'm not sure. I think we might follow suit with that trend. We might put our power plant here. There is a large body of water. There is a lot of things we potentially might need. As you can see, there is a large body of water, but there's also a good chunk of land right here. But we could also build fairly high up here, which we might end up doing. Now, I also see a lot of people usually build their base not down here, but like kind of at this height where it just kind of goes over all of this. I don't know if we'll do something like that, or if we'll try to incorporate the water or make another one of our oil platforms. We'll see. But then we also have kind of like that area over there for things, which we're going to get to next. And so then we employed these new junctions. So the way it works, by the way, is so if you get into it, notice, it just spits you out. Well, that's because you have to hit the E to change the travel direction. It took me like 5 minutes to figure that out. And there are some areas over there that might work for a base. Or for like an annex of sorts. So then our highway turns a little bit to the left. I'm trying to keep it like on the outside of the map. Or like on the edge. Just so that way it gives us a lot of flexibility for being able to have the highway here. And then not have to worry about like verticality for things. I'm thinking over here is probably going to be our southwestern counterpart for production for things. And what I'm thinking is we're probably going to build up a tall base around this. right here. This rock structure. And so that's kind of why I placed another output here. So what I'm thinking is, because this is also, a fun fact, the starting area, or like the beginning starting area, we probably, oh, let's grab this. We probably are going to be able to build a fairly nice base here without too much issue. Now, I don't really know what resources we'll have access to here. Like, I can already see that there's some stone and there's some other things. Especially over there, it looks like there's stone or something. Power slug. Water. There's not a whole lot of water over here. I mean, I know there's that water from the basin, but that's a cliff behind us. There is water over there. And that island, by the way, we can actually go to that island. So I'm wondering if perhaps we build something there, like a facility, and then have water there. So that could be another thing. Maybe we build our power plant over there, kind of like 3 Mile Island, or any number of the nuclear facilities. There's also, looks like some iron. There's some nice, like, flat regions. There's a flat region here we could use. And even some not so flat regions, like right here. There's something over there we could probably use. Then, of course, there's this mountain range up top, or plateau system, that we could facilitate things on. I haven't fully gotten the highway system built up yet, but it is... we got all the way to there. So that's where we're going to continue off with it. Or, yeah, I guess we're going to continue it today into that region. So as we continue along our journey, that means we have a highway system from about here down to about here-ish. I was kind of exploring just to see how far over we can go with it. And then, of course, there's all this middle section which we have not explored, which we will have to explore at some point, I think. But I will say it's wild how massive the map is, but also just how diverse the different biomes are. Definitely, I think they did a really good job with a lot of it. So as we come out to here... oh, do we not have... okay, good, we do. I was gonna say, I really hope we do. This is just our way to get home without having to walk. There you go. So, what's really nice is we can just go ahead and connect. Also, one thing that I don't know if when they added it or if I was just dumb, but there is a auto connect building mode now. So for instance, if these things are close enough, like that, they will automatically connect the tubes, but I'm pretty sure they also connect power. Yep, you can see the power. Maybe. Okay, let's see if I can get it to show. Or maybe it's not connecting the power. Maybe it's only connecting that. I think it's maybe only connecting that. Anyway, it's still a really cool system that if you build your blueprint just right, it will auto connect for you, so you don't have to worry about going back through and connecting up everything. Which I definitely wish I knew that when I was designing this, but it's fine. I also realized a little bit too late that I might have added something in the blueprint, this orange piece that was not supposed to be there, but is now in every single segment the entire way around. So that's just gonna live there, I think, forever. Because I am certainly not going back and removing it. But it's there. And everything's powered up, right? Yep. So as we go this way, at some point, once we're far enough over, we're going to turn a little bit that way. and just make sure we're going in the right direction. Well, being able to build like this definitely is expediting how quickly we're able to move and facilitate. Because, like, total, I think this has only been about 2.5, 3 hours of doing this. It's been over the course of, like, 3 days, though, because every time I go and do it, I'm like, oh, well, it's, you know, a really fast process, and then I stop doing it, and then I go do other things, and that's not the world's most efficient thing. However, one of the things I want to work on soon, probably this week, is working on getting nuclear power, just because, as previously mentioned, our power scenario, or scenario is not the right word. Power situation, that's the right word, is not in the best place. Because if you remember here, let's actually take a look at our power really quick. We have a max potential consumption of 19,000 megawatts with a current capacity of 5,000 about. Now, we do have some stored power, so we're able to offset that, but even with these, with the megawatt hours, we don't have the ability to fully sustain our factory if everything was on. Now, is that always going to be the case of the factory always being on? No. But as we get higher up, the things that we work towards are going to become more expensive in terms of what the power consumption is. And as we build more infrastructure, like for instance, each one of these lights is a megawatt. So each segment we build is 4 megawatts. Which means we've probably built 100. So we're probably looking at 400 megawatts just from this infrastructure. Now sure, we could build less lighting, or we could just not have lighting, or we could turn it all off, sort of thing. But at the end of the day, that's still 400 megawatts just from this infrastructure. It doesn't provide us any other benefit other than aesthetics. Now, we also have other areas that we could probably try to reduce how much we're eating. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to turn. It's always hard to gauge because I'm like, I think we're clear, but just to be safe. Oh, wrong button. I need architecture, and then I need... But anyway, so it's always, you know, just one of those things where no matter what you have, you're going to possibly end up in a place where you're gonna want to upgrade power. Plus, you know, I want to do nuclear power just to try it out. Let's go there. Okay. Now, what's really nice for how a lot of this stuff works is you can just do something like that. Delete those two things, and then we can just bring in that. Looks about right. And then we have something that kind of looks like that, and so that's the case of just making sure everything lines up. And then we have kind of our options of we can either try to line like this up, and then it's just making sure that everything is going to clear. I'm pretty sure it's going to clear. And then it's just going through and connecting everything up like a so, like a so. And then this guy is pretty much already aligned for us. So then all we got to do to get the angle, what I like to do is use the freeform like that, and then a nudge. Like that. And then we can just do either one. But if we really want it to kind of go like in the middle, we can go something like that. It kind of helps matching it. And same idea here. looks good. Looks good. Looks good. There we go. Pretty seamless. I mean, it's not perfect, but it does the job. And this is the other part is, okay, noodle looks pretty good. Curve also looks pretty good. It just depends. Sometimes I either do curve or I'll do noodle. Just enough so that it mostly follows this path. And it usually does. And there we go. I definitely learned some things. I definitely haven't learned enough of the building tips to make really, really cool highways. However, I have heard that the cooler the highway, the more performance intensive it is, usually due to the amount of items used. Mine are mostly all function, with a little bit of form. Like, I don't need the guardrails on the hypertube. I don't need as much of what I'm building. I suppose I could go very bare bones, kind of like what we did over at the aluminum factory, where we have just a lot of those concrete pillars and things. But, you know, to each their own, I suppose. There we go. And then, not to spoil anything, but if you ever find yourself, this I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong here. So somebody who knows what I'm about to say, leave that down in the comment section below and correct me if I am wrong. But if you're early on and starting out and you're looking for an adventure, come over to this beach and investigate and see if you find anything interesting, especially up and over this area, like kind of this thing. Go investigate that way. See, you might come across some interesting items. So that's where I'll leave that one at. I don't know how much buildable space is on this side of the map, like how far out we can go before we hit the death barrier, but there is a large area here. Like, this could also be a good potential area for doing our nuclear program, is building out a power pad here, building vertically, putting some stuff in, and then we have plenty of area for where we can put water collectors if we need water for anything. I don't know where uranium is, and I don't think we have access to scanning. Like oil, for instance. Is there any oil over here? Yeah, actually there is. Huh. A little bit shocked about that. I'm curious to see how much larger our factory gets, because, like, I feel like we're getting near the end. Like, we can see Phase 4, which I think Phase 4 is the end. But, like, how much... I mean, I suppose, you know, we could have literally one machine of everything working and then just have trickle and eventually get there, but, like, how large do factories typically get? Because I suppose there's probably the mega base factories that include every single resource node on the map and are producing, like, a very ratioed amount of things. I'm curious to see what sort of, like, what end games people go for. Like, do they go for, okay, let me use every single resource on the map, produce the most optimal build possible that yields the highest production rates of everything, but also the most performance? And then is there a class of ending where it's, what is the... And we're out of resources. Time to head back. Like, and then is there an ending where you look at not necessarily having every node producing something, but rather what is the I'm trying to think what I had it for a second, now I forgot what I was gonna say. Like the least machines needed, I guess, like having one of every machine just producing like one of every recipe sort of thing, or because in a game like this I feel like it's kind of hard because I mean I guess you're still working towards that goal, right? You're still using all the resources, you're still doing that, but like unlike a game, because like what really is after phase 4? I mean, is there something after phase 4? I don't know. But yeah, so this has kind of just been our journey around the map. And we're getting there. We are definitely getting there. We can remove our stamp now. So I think my goal is to probably do nuclear power. Like try to get that milestone, hopefully between episodes, and then we can start on a nuclear power plant, hopefully next episode. Some of the things that I know we're going to need are a location far away from anything else, a hazmat suit, which we already have, ionized filters, which we already have, but we're going to need more of. What else? I'm trying to think what else we might need. Uranium. We are going to need uranium, so we're going to have to scout out that. But I don't know if we'll look when we get back to base if we get a scannable. I would assume we get a scannable uranium in the thing. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll find out. This is kind of peaceful though. Like, I mean, it's slow. It's not the, most efficient option, I guess. But I don't know. Are trains faster than this? Like, how fast are we going? I wish it told me how fast I was going, because I don't see anywhere that would indicate we're going, like, 1,000 miles per hour. I mean, I know we're not doing that. We're probably doing, like, what, 50, 60? I don't know. I will say, I'm curious. Are we going faster than a train in a hypertube, or are you going at the same speed, or are you going slower? Leave that down in the comment section below if you guys know. Because I feel like we're going faster, but that could just be my perceived... Like, oh, we're not in a train, so we have to go be... We have to be faster? Maybe? I don't know, it's definitely crazy how far we've gone with this. Up, and we're all the way back here. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you guys did, you guys know what to do. Smash that like button if you haven't done so already. Whoa, it got really dark. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, tips, tricks, or anything else, leave that down below. With that, I will see you guys all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one, and peace out.